The reason, the rhyme. 5 things that mean something to me and the reason why. This time, gigs, concerts, musical recitals, whatever you want to call it. Oh, car coming. Up first, it's the first. My first ever gig was November 1988. I was 15 years of age, and it was at the Royal Court Theatre in Liverpool, and it was the Hothouse Flowers. Do you remember them? Irish band, Don't Go. Not my favourite band by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of the most important things I could have done. One, because it was my first ever gig. 2, also I didn't go with a family member. I went with me 2 mates from school, Ed and Neil. So at the age of 15, back in 1988, when you were 15, you were basically an adult. You were allowed to go and do what you felt like. But it felt like it was a bit of a rite of passage for me. I don't know if they'd been to other gigs before and I can't remember. But yeah. And I was reading a little bit about the Royal Court, just having a scan through some things, trying to find out exactly what year it was I went, to be honest with you. And they were talking about the Royal Court used to feel like it was more of a community than a theatre. And I remember that well. That was the first of many. And you used to see the same people there. Didn't matter what kind of gig it was. The following week you'd see the same faces. And that was in a day when it used to be like £6 or something to go and see a gig. So you'd be able to go and see one a month at least, possibly once every fortnight, sometimes maybe 3 or 4 in a month if you were lucky. Kids don't get that these days. Every gig that you go to is so expensive to get tickets. Like when we went, it was cheap to get in, but merchandise was really expensive, t-shirts and posters and what have you. Now, they pay a fortune for the tickets and the merch is still overpriced. So I feel sorry for them. You can't just go out on a random Tuesday night and go and see a top band in their hometown like we used to. But yeah, that was such an important thing. And I think it was also important, it wasn't one of my favourite bands. If I'd gone to see someone who I really loved back then, the expectation might have been too high and I might have ruined it for me. Whereas going there with very little expectation anyway and being blown away by a band that were absolutely brilliant live, I think served me well. So by the time I started watching bands I was really into, I wasn't nervous about it, I wasn't expecting too much. I just got to enjoy the moment and the experience, so it was fantastic. I really loved that. And if you get a chance to see the Hothouse Flowers live, do. Such a fantastic band. If they're still going, I don't even know. But they were really good live, loads of energy. There's about 90 of them on stage at the same time. And they can write a tune or two, them boys. So yeah, there you go, number 1. Hothouse Flowers, November 1988, Royal Court, Liverpool. Next is Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman and Howe, 1989, Birmingham NEC Arena. Now this, hugely important for me. Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman and Howe are 4/5 or 80% of one of the classic Yes lineups. The only one that was missing was the bass player, Chris Squire, who is my favourite bass player of all time, and I never got to see him. I never got to see Yes, but I got to see the other 4 lads. And during that tour they had 2 players playing with them in different places. There'd be one playing one week, one the other. One was Jeff Berlin, who was a fantastic bass player. The other one is Tony Levin, who is my second favourite bass player of all time. More of him later. So if you can't see your favourite, the next best is the next best, isn't it? That was another one where I went with Ed and Neil and we got the coaches from the Royal Court in Liverpool to Birmingham. It was just, and it's the first time, the reason why it was important is it's the first time I saw 4 absolute, well more than 4, there's 5 or 6 of them, elite level musicians. This is too dark, isn't it? Hang on. Yeah, the reason why this was important is because This is the first time I saw a group of elite musicians on stage together, and someone who I absolutely hero worshipped and still do to this day. Steve Howe is my favourite guitarist of all time, and someone that genuinely inspired and influenced me to pick up a guitar. I tried when I was 9, I couldn't play. When I was 15, I was so obsessed with Yes and Steve Howe's guitar playing. I wanted to learn to play, and I did. And I've tried to learn a lot of his stuff over the years, but it's difficult because he's a very good player. And it was in the days of pre-YouTube, pre-Spotify, so there was no instruction videos, tuition ones on how to play things, and you couldn't just press a button to go back 30 seconds. You had to lift the needle off the record, you had to rewind the tape, you had to listen and learn over and over again. And I never ever hit the highs that a Steve Howe could do, nowhere near as good as that. But I'm a better guitarist for listening to him and for learning all those songs that I could. I sat there, you sit at a Yes concert, you don't stand up, you sit. Sat there in absolute awe of these people. John Anderson's angelic voice, the insane drum patterns of Bill Bruford, lots of jazz in his influences, and of course Tony Levin, amazing, and Rick Wakeman, just legend, keyboard legend. And it showed me as well that although these were incredible musicians, massively talented, and also hugely practiced, didn't just get up on stage and play because they haven't played together for ages. It was, these people have spent obviously hour after hour after hour rehearsing to make sure that they were getting everything 100% right, and they were still enjoying themselves. It wasn't a job to them. And it made me realise that's what it's all about. That music, creating music with your friends. So it doesn't matter if you're on stage in front of 20 or 30,000 people, whether you're in a little club playing to 500 or 600, whether you're in a coffee shop playing acoustic guitar. Creating the music's the thing that's important, and if you're in a band, it's a bit like five-a-side football. You get the enjoyment out of doing it together. It's not just, not just you on your own, it's the camaraderie of being part of something. So when me and my mates were playing music in Neil's back room, his mum and dad were sound for letting us play. The neighbours just didn't give a shite anyway. Go and play what you want. Doesn't matter how loud it is. We had the same kind of buzz playing music together as we did watching a band like that. That's what I got from that concert. Just go and enjoy it. Play with your mates. Enjoy it. And strive to be as good as you possibly can. So yeah, that was 1989. Birmingham NEC. Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman and Howe. Or Yes without Chris Squire. Very good. Next is Sheffield Arena 1993, and it is Peter Gabriel. This could have been one of two in 1993. I also went to see U2 at Roundabout Park in Leeds, who were supported by the Stereo MCs, and also Paul Oakenfold was DJing. And it was an amazing day out. Incredible, the stage was huge, all that, but I've chosen instead to go for Peter Gabriel. And the reason why it was so important, it was the first time I think I'd ever seen a performance that wasn't just music. I don't want to say it transcended into art, but you know what I mean. You've seen Peter Gabriel. Even when he was at Genesis, it was all of the face makeup, outfits, tries to make it a bit more theatrical. And that was the first time I'd seen that. First song, he come out of the stage in a red telephone box, and they started pulling the phone with him down the runway that virtually went the entire length of the place. Just incredible. and an incredible lineup of musicians. The ones that immediately spring to mind are David Rhodes on guitar, Manu Katché on drums, and the godlike genius that is Tony Levin on bass. I said we'd mention him again, didn't I? Loads of fantastic songs, some of his newer ones at the time, and then some of the older ones, so it was something for everyone, but incredible. What an absolute legend of music, what a man. If you get a chance, go and see him, you will not be disappointed. But that was superb, that one. Went with Neil and his dad, drove all the way to Sheffield, because that's about the nearest place that they were performing, I think. Yeah, absolutely amazing. 1993, what a good year that was. Up next is the Stone Roses, Spike Island, May 1990. A gig so famous that there was a fictional feature film made about it, about young kids trying to get tickets to go. It was sort of marketed as our generation's Woodstock. And what I remember about it, if I remember rightly, and there's a good chance that I don't, it's for such a long time ago, is that it was an all-dayer. Frankie Bones was the DJ. Kept shouting Frankie Bones from Brooklyn, New York. That stuck in my mind. There was a band on with 3 bass players, bizarrely. 4 or 5 support acts. And then the Roses came on at about 10 o'clock-ish. Played for under an hour. And the sound was awful and they weren't particularly well. Ian Brown couldn't sing to begin with, but as the gig went on, he got better. But it was more to do with the event, the global gathering that we had. There was people from obviously Merseyside, Cheshire, Manchester, all meeting together. There was no trouble, no messing around. Liam and Noel Gallagher were there watching the gig apparently. I wonder how many other people went on to form bands on the back of it. But it was amazing. It was just because it's a strange place to have a gig. Spike Island, like virtually underneath the Runcorn Bridge. Very, very strange, but it worked well. There was a huge crush getting out, which came a year after Hillsborough, so that was still in everybody's mind. Like, take it easy, really take it easy. We don't want any more of this stuff happening. People getting crushed and what have you. So I think there was a lot of people that were slightly anxious on the way out. But it was a good day, and thankfully everyone turned out all right afterwards. But I'm sure I've read somewhere recently that one of the roadies or soundmen recorded it and then just hid the video away, and now it's being edited and revamped and what have you, and it's going to be brought out as a concert video and a behind the scenes kind of thing, which would be really good. But it wasn't a great gig, genuinely wasn't. It was the event, it was the fact of saying I was there, I was at this moment in time, this momentous shift towards our generation. Came after the second Summer of Love and all that stuff. And I wasn't really into the dance, the rave scene. I was into the guitar music. But this did feel like it was sort of ours. And that made me hungry to go to more gigs, especially more open outdoor ones, which I loved. So yeah, it was such a massive occasion, but once the video comes out, it's not going to be the greatest. I'll tell you that now. I will tell you that now. Yep. May 1990, Spike Island, the Stone Roses. They're on my CV, end of story. And finally, December 2023, the most important gig I've been to so far. And that was Noel Gallagher at the M&S Bank Arena, or the Echo Arena as we still call it in Liverpool. And the reason why it was the most important gig I've been to, it was the first gig that me and my daughter went to. She was 17 at the time. When she was younger, she was into One Direction and a lot of boy band stuff. And I bought her a cheap guitar, just like a 40 quid guitar from Argos, I think it was, just to see if she liked it. And she did, and stuck with it. And I've bought her another 2. two or three guitars and an amp, and she's really stuck with it. And as a result of that, she's got into better music. Now, I know Noel Gallagher, a very divisive character, as Oasis are in general. I am firmly in that sort of the in-between spot where I can appreciate them and think they're a good band, while also think they are the most overrated band in history. But I like them, and it was her suggestion that she wanted to go and see Noel Gallagher at the Echo Arena. And I thought, yeah, sound, I'll buy you a ticket. You and your mate can go, I'll pay for both of you. And I thought, you know what, no, I want to go. I wouldn't mind seeing him live. So the pair of us went. And it was also fantastic because normally at the moment I get to see her 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon when I pick her up and take her to work, and then pick her up from work and take her home. It's like it used to be when she was young. She'd come round for the weekend and we'd have hour after hour with each other. We don't anymore. She'll be 19 soon, so I think those days are gone, aren't they? Whereas going to a gig, I got to pick her up at 6, I think it was. And we had the drive down, we were listening to Oasis CDs on the way down there. We were having a chat, having a laugh, taking the piss out of each other. We had the gig. The stage was to my right, and she was sat to my right as well. So as I was looking, I could always see her just singing away to every song, every Oasis song, every Noel Gallagher song. Not just the hits, the album tracks. She knew them all. So it was fantastic being able to share that with her. And it's a great venue, the Echo Arena. Really, really nice venue. Great seats. Noel Gallagher was superb live as well. Whether you like him or not, he can play live. So it was fantastic. And also, she's got into better music, so we can share more of that together now. Not just that it's the Smiths and things like that we can share. I got asked when Jess was born, or even before she was born, do you want a boy or a girl? Or when she was born, are you disappointed it wasn't a boy? No, not remotely bothered. She's not really into football, so we don't get to share that like me and my dad did. But she is into playing guitar and into music, so I get to share that with her, like me and my dad did. So it's a thing that's been passed down to me from my dad, and it's a thing that I passed down to my daughter, and hopefully it will continue. There will always be guitars in the house. There'll always be music in the house. So it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I hope it's not the last gig we go to. I've been looking out and see if there's anything decent coming up, whether that's in the arena or even any of the smaller venues in Liverpool. See if we can go and see something else. But it was fantastic. I really loved it. I did have video somewhere of it, but I was looking the other day and I can't find it. But yeah, that was the last gig I've been to, and it was the most important so far. Who knows? There might be something else coming up. We shall see. What were your gigs? What are your favourite ones? What are the ones that mean something to you? Let me know. Or have you got any that you'd really like to go to? Any that you'd got a burning ambition to go and see? Any bands, any singers, anything like that? Let me know in the comments below. Right, well, I forgot to tell you which songs to listen to. So I'm going to have to do them all in this one now, aren't I? So, Hothouse Flowers. The song you should listen to is The Older We Get, off the album People. Everyone went to see them and they were all asking for Don't Go, because that was the biggest hit at the time. But The Older We Get was the song that really stood out for me. Great tune as well, actually. Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman and Howe. I don't mind that album, but I suggest you listen to a Yes album that they were all on, which would be Fragile. Brilliant album. And probably Roundabout. Give that a listen to. The Stone Roses. I could have picked all kinds of stuff, but I have to go with Mersey Paradise, obviously. Peter Gabriel. I could go with Genesis, couldn't I? No. I'm going to go with Not One of Us, which I think it's off either the second or third eponymous album. But listen to the live version of Peter Gabriel Plays Live, which is absolutely, that's a great live album anyway, that, to be honest with you. Absolutely brilliant. Noel Gallagher. I would say The Right Stuff. I think, yeah, The Right Stuff. Chasing Yesterday, is it? Yeah, I like that. It's a good tune. Yeah, do you know what? There's some really good songs there. Especially the Hothouse Flowers. I just went back and listened to the album just to sort of remind myself of what it was like. And as soon as I got to The Older We Get, I can picture myself back there at the gig. It's mad. Just took me back straight away. What a superb song that was. Again, like I say, everyone was waiting for Don't Go, but The Older We Get seemed to be really anthemic. It'd be a really good song to do on a Sunday afternoon at Glastonbury when all the sun's out and the crowd are up for it. So if you're watching, lads, get it done, eh? Yeah, there you go. Add them, try them, see what you think, and let me know in the comments below. So there you go. There's my 5 things that mean something to me and the reasons why. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like that 5, why not check out these next? Or even these?